et n'a suivi émission pour tout le monde présentée par Dr. Whistler Devesin. Thème émission c'est leadership, culture et politique. Comme moi toujours dit non, yon pas marcher sans l'autre. Son plaisir pour moi assoyant, pour moi gagner avec moi de Major Craig Owens, candidate for Cobb County Sheriff. Et assoyant émission a fait seulement en anglais parce que the Major doesn't speak Creole. So therefore, this interview will be conducted only in English. Comme moi dit tout à l'heure, c'est un plaisir pour moi gagner un gros coquin chaîne garçon dans la communauté, dans Cobb County, qui peut aller pour shérif. Et nous pourrons gagner une belle interview avec lui. Et ma remercie tous les deux dans la communauté qui voyaient question yo jodi et pour nous poser Major Craig Owens. As I said, this interview will be conducted only in English. M'a salué tout Haïti en New York. M'a salué Radio Haïti Riposte, tout staff Radio Haïti Riposte, la République Dominicaine, principalement le chef de la Haïti Riposte, le professeur Patrice Dorville. M'a salué tout le monde t'attend des tribaux par bord, jeudi en émission c'est là. Alors que si nous avons question, voyez question sur Facebook, m'a welcome question yo et dans deuxième partie émission m'a posé Major Craig Owens qui c'est candidat for Cobb County Sheriff. Bien que le pas comprendre ça m'a parlé là, but I know that we're going to have a great interview today. Not interview, I would say a great conversation today. Major Craig Owens, candidate for Cobb County Sheriff. He is highly accomplished law enforcement professional with more than 30 combined years of operational and administrative experience within the U.S. military, federal, state, and county. Major Craig Owens is currently the commander of Precinct 2 in the Cobb County Police Department. He is the candidate in the upcoming Democratic primary for sheriff, where Owens is vying for the chance to face incumbent Republican Neil Warren in the fall election. Please visit his website, craigforcobbsheriff.com, and please donate. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, people who are watching on Facebook, please help me in welcoming Major Craig Owens, candidate for Cobb County Sheriff. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you so very much for allowing me to appear on your show this evening. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be here with you this evening.
Thank you, Major Craig. It is an honor for me as well to have you on the show pour tout le monde. And I know pour tout le monde is Creole, but it sounds good, right?
It does.
So this is a very good start. Personally, I went to your website and did some research. What you've done and what you keep doing in the community. One of the things that I know about you, you are a father, a husband with a great personality and great leader as well.
Thank you.
One other thing also that you put on your website, you said servant leadership. This is very powerful. You said, I'm a husband, father, son, veteran, college graduate, and proud Cobb County resident and member at Word of Faith in Hostel. Raised in Atlanta, Georgia, My parents instilled in me a passion for service and a dedication to community. Here's my first question for you. Let's get started.
Let's get to
and
it.
let's have fun.
All right.
Leadership. You said, I've never heard that. You said leadership, passion, not position. This is my first question. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Absolutely. I spent 30 plus years in the United States Army and United States Army Reserve. And I learned as I'm going through the ranks there and becoming into leadership positions, leadership is not about owning that position. It's about having a passion to lead. So it really doesn't matter in my aspect of what position you hold.
Mm-hmm.
True leadership becoming from internal passion and drive to be good at what you do and be good to your fellow soldiers, your fellow officers, or for your fellow community. So that's what leadership means to me. So it doesn't matter just because I'm in a certain position. That's the reason why I have that leadership authority. To me, that doesn't matter. It's because doing what's right all the time and having that passion, that internal drive to do what's right and to lead, our young men and women for this aspect as a sheriff's department to be one of the best sheriff's departments, not only in the state of Georgia, but across the whole United States of America. So to me, leadership is a passion. It's not about that position. It's truly come from the internal drive that you should have to want to lead personnel to be great.
Perfect. I read this book many times. Leadership is an art. Max Dupree. Maybe you read this book many times too. And he said, leaders don't inflict pain, they bear pain. Leaders don't inflict pain, they bear pain. The first definition of a leader is to define reality. The last is to say thank you. In between, the leader is a servant. Just to tell you how appreciative I am about what you just said, leadership is a servant. What can you tell us about this quote? Leaders don't inflict pain, they bear pain.
Right. So what that means to me is this. As a leader, I'm not here to bear the burden of responsibility upon my officers or deputies. That burden becomes me as a leader. And my job is to make sure they have everything necessary to be successful, to take care of the citizens of Cobb County, which truly deserves the best protection they possibly can get. So that means all the burden of that should come toward me and not toward the officers or deputies performing this function. And I would like to say that I have the broad enough shoulders to broad that burden and to keep that heat off of my deputies and officers so they can be successful and provide the best service we can to our community. So, and we don't want to cause them any animosity in doing their job. Let me take the heat. Let me be responsible for that. Let them bring the issues to me and let me fix it. As a leader of the department, you always see me out front. I will never be behind. That's when we do right and when we do wrong. I'll be the first person you see. And I think that's a sign of a good leader. Being out front of your agencies when things are going right and when things are going wrong. Don't put the burden of proof on another deputy. That's my responsibility. I'm the leader of this organization. I take the heat. Just let these men and women do their job appropriately, and they don't, we'll deal with a problem, in the right way.
Great. One of the things about leadership, sometimes people take it for granted. Mm-hmm. They think they can just jump in and lead. It doesn't work that way, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Everyone is not a leader, right? And I can attest that from being in the military and police department. It's sometimes, you've heard the term, people say, well, he's a natural born leader, he's a born leader. I think sometimes the leadership traits are learned, and I've learned a lot of things from the several different people I've worked with over the years, some of the good things and bad things, what I can and shouldn't be doing. But some of those traits are learned. But then some of it is basically your instinct as well. Mm-hmm. What you got inside of you that you can bring out. It pulls out your intestinal fortitude to be great.
Okay.
So some of it is a trait that you may already have, but some of those leadership traits are learned as well.
Perfect. So as a leader, do you think that this is something that comes first in the house, like for instance, you as a father, as a husband, as a, I would say, with a great personality. Do you think that comes from, um, I mean, it came first in your house?
I think it was instilled in me at an early age, to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm,
from my upbringing, from my parents and grandparents as well. They instilled, I'm a little older now, I would tell you that.
mm-hmm.
So come from the old school where we used to
We're not
say,
going there.
right. But, we just kind of raised that during that time frame that, the man is kind of here at the household
Mm-hmm,
and we should take the burden of the responsibility for the family. And
mm-hmm,
that kind of goes to the leadership role. He leads his family down the road to be success. He ensures they're taken care of, they're fed, the kids are educated, they go to school, and etc.
mm-hmm.
So it kind of starts at a young age when you get that, and that portion kind of instilled in you what you should be doing right and taking care of your family and so on. So I take that and equate what I do to take care of my officers going forward. I want to make sure that I take care of them and give them all the information they need to be more successful. So yes, I got that from a young age, and it kind of stayed with me up to this point.
Perfect. Okay, enough of leadership now.
Okay.
Cobb County is a suburban county of Atlanta in the U.S. state of Georgia, located in the north central portion of the state. As of 2019, the population was 760,141, making it in Georgia. I mean, this county is the third most populous county, and it has Marietta, Smyrna, Mapleton, Fair Oaks, Kenesaw, Powder Springs, Vinings. I'm wrong?
Oh, yeah. You have Atworth.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm missing,
Yeah. So the Cobb has like 7 official cities.
city, okay.
Right, and then you have some other subset of cities, like you were saying, Mapleton and Vinings.
Vinings.
Those are subsets of other cities
Perfect.
within the county. Yes.
Perfect. And are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a big county. And my question to you, and I think other people are going to ask you maybe that question, and police brutality.
Right.
How are you going? I'm not saying fix that.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to work it out?
That's a good question. I think we have to attack that from all levels of law enforcement. For me specifically, it'd be about training is first,
Mm-hmm.
and using de-escalation skills. And that's very important. I think the way we can get around some of these instances of abuse that they're dealing out to some of our citizens, which is totally uncalled for and totally unjustified, is to ensure that our officers and deputies are properly trained first and foremost. Ensure they also have de-escalation skills and training. And what that basically means is what's happening now, you're seeing a lot of instances where officers are escalating situations versus de-escalating and turning to more of a violent situation when it could be hopefully talked down and made to a softer approach versus that hard hand approach. So we got to be able to make sure first we train the officers properly and they're receiving all the best training we possibly can give them. Second, we want to make sure we're teaching them de-escalation skills as well, which is critically important. Sometimes we go to hands-on, we should be able to just talk and talk it out versus getting into a physical altercation, in which could turn to a deadly encounter. So we got to make sure we have training is number one, and de-escalation, including that training, to make sure we prevent some of these incidents occurring right now.
Perfect. I like this answer. You talk about the vision, and as you said, you're going to train. And part of your vision, you said that recruiting and retaining a diverse field of qualified officers.
Right.
Why did you say recruiting and retaining?
Well, first, I hit the recruiting portion first. I think it is critical that we recruit a diverse workforce.
Mm-hmm.
A sheriff's agency or either sheriff's office or a police department should be a reflection of the county or city that they serve.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, we should have people that looks like you and me that own a police force or a sheriff's office.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're not hiring a diverse workforce, then we're not doing our community a service. And I mean diverse, I mean all races. That's white, black, Hispanic, Haitian, we want to have a collection of every race so we can have a diverse, so we have that collection of everything, not just one facet. I don't want to have a workforce of 90% of one race and 2% of another race and 0 of this race. I want a diverse workforce so we can hopefully have a collection of our community which we serve, which I think is critically important. Our offices, sheriff's office should be a reflection of the community we serve. So we should have some of every races in there. And the second part of that, and it was about
I said recruiting and retaining.
retention.
Retention. Mm-hmm.
Retention is extremely important. What's happening currently, we're losing deputies to other agencies for higher paying positions, or they just be bluntly a better work conditions. So we got to be able to keep those good deputies versus letting them go to other places. Make sure we're paying our men and women a proper salary that is competitive across the state of Georgia and specifically across the metro Atlanta area, which is who our competition lies with. Make sure we're meeting those standards and paying our deputies the right money to keep them here, and offer them some type of incentives, whether it's education, it could be bonuses, home assistance programs, whatever we can do to keep our deputies here in the county so we don't lose that valuable leadership to other agencies.
Perfect. Part of your vision, because I'm going to focus more on the vision that
Right.
You said that you will eliminate the 827G program. Can you tell us about what is it that 287G program?
Right. To make it in a very simplistic answer, the 287G is an immigration law, which is basically the law that the federal government used to deport individuals who they consider to be in the United States here illegally. And it's normally ran by the federal government, ICE, who that program falls under now currently. And what happens is several local jurisdictions get hooked with that program with the federal government and go into a partnership with them. And then that allows them to work with the federal government to go out and do immigration law. Basically go out looking for illegal immigrants and work with the federal government. For me, I don't think that's what a local sheriff's office should be doing. That's a federal department's job. They should handle it. And if they need assistance, we'll help them. But should not be part of our primary function to work with them to do that. And in fact, that program, even from the Director of Homeland Security, saying it's not being ran as it's intended to be ran.
Okay.
Meaning, the program was supposed to be used to remove violent criminals and people of that nature from the United States and then have them deported. But it seems to me, from what the data we receive, it's doing nothing but targeting misdemeanor crimes and things of that nature. And then also what it tends to do is have us targeting certain races.
Keep going.
Yeah. So that what that does is it has us targeting certain races. An example, you see a lot of our Hispanic community could be targeted for these type crimes as well. And they say profiled is what the term they use all the time. They've been profiled and stopped to check their status. So what that program for me is just not fruitful. It's not only Hispanics. It could be Haitians, it can be Africans, it can be any race that they choose to look for. And I just don't think it's a useful program. I think Cobb County is much better than that. I think we have systems in place that if we will receive someone here that may be illegal, we can run them through the system. If they are, then take them through the proper channels. If they need to be deported, and so be it. But I don't think we have to be in a partnership with the federal government to do their job. And I don't think the money is being used wisely as well. I think those monies that we're applying to that program could be put back into the county to create new programs for us to better our community. Like a police explorer, sheriff's explorers program, create a community liaison. We can have one for the Haitian community. We can have one for the Latino community. There's several other things we can do for the betterment of our county with that money we're using.
Now I would say that you are in the Haitian community, and
Right.
thank you for coming one more time. My question to you, if you have one message for the Haitian community, what would it be?
I'm here for you. I want to be a part of your community. I want you to know that you have a voice. Hopefully, when I'm elected, that my door is open. I'm willing to, if you have issues, please bring them to me, and I'm open for those issues, and we definitely will talk. What I want you to understand is what you currently don't have is a sheriff that's open. He doesn't speak to the community. He has no interaction, and I think it's so important that we have that interaction with our community, all aspects of our community, all everyone deserves to see their sheriff and talk to him. And that's what I would guarantee you. You will have access to me, and we'll talk. And I want to make sure I'm providing you the best service I can provide for you for your community as well. Everyone deserves the best service, and I want to make sure everyone gets that. So, for the Haitian community, if I'm so fortunate to win this race, let it be known now, today, that I'm here for you. I will always be here for you. My door is open. I will listen to your concerns, and we can work it out and get to the bottom of it and make Cobb County the best county in the state of Georgia.
Wow, visionary, the visionary leadership. You said your words. My pledge to you is to use the sheriff's office to build bridges in the diverse communities that make up the county we all call home.
That's right.
These are your words.
That's correct.
Elaborate a little bit for us.
And it's kind of going back to what I just said. I want to make sure that everyone feels safe in Cobb County, and everyone have a voice, and everyone can reach out to their sheriff when they have issues. So what I have to do as a sheriff, I got to, bridge these bridges that we currently have, and have that collaborative effort. So everyone know that, hey, your voice is important, regardless of your stature in this county, but your voice is important. So I want to be that bridge builder, connect everybody together, everybody have a voice. That way we all feel safe, we all can be successful, and then we can all build Cobb County and being the best county in the state of Georgia.
There's a question comes up. In a particular social context, how do you see black community influence in your town?
Well, Cobb has a history of being more of a white-led community or county. But however, you can see that's changing. And I think by me becoming sheriff, will be one part for a next step in that change. Because if I'm fortunate to win this race, which I'm hoping I will, I'll be the first African American ever to hold this post in Cobb County and be the chief law enforcement executive, which is extremely important. It's history. And that goes a long way in again, bridging those gaps in those communities. Now we will have someone of stature at the seat, at the table, to help make some of the critical decisions that's affecting not only our race, but every race. And now you have that diversity at the table now. And it's not always just one way. So I think Cobb is going in the right direction. But I think this election here is extremely important.
Yes.
It's extremely important. If you heard the term, vote like your life is dependent on it. We need to vote like our life depending on it, because the rules, the laws, the things that are happening here is at the local level. And if we don't vote at our local level, that's what's going to affect us. I know we're always talking about what's happening at the president level and the federal level, but a lot of things are going to affect us every day. It's happening here at our local level. So you got to vote like your life depends on it, specifically on your local elections, because you got your judges, you got your district attorneys, your sheriffs, and etc. These individuals are making decisions that will affect your life, laws that will affect your life. So we got to make sure we vote like our life depends on it, because it truly does. So let's get out and vote. Change needs to happen. You can't have the same leadership that's been there for 40 plus years. We need fresh, new leadership, new vision, new goals, new trendsetters. We just need something different than what we've had for the last 40 years.
The question I'm going to ask you, again, I know you said it all so far. Why should people trust you?
That's a good question. And how I answer is this. I think I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of character, and I've always been a person, as a lack of better terms, a trustworthy person, and that's part of my campaign plan. Yeah, I know you can get to that shortly, but I'm running on this plan we call truth, trust, and transparency, and I've been able to exhibit that throughout my police career up to now, as well as my military career. And I think to be a leader, a servant to the community, you got to be able to have those three things. I call them the three T's: truth, trust, and transparency. That is what I think will help us become an overall better community. And why trust me? Because currently the current sheriff you have doesn't have any one of those things. There's no trust. There's no transparency. There's nothing but lawsuits. There's, unfortunately, we have individuals dying in our facility, 50 in his tenure, 9 in the last year. Several wrongful death lawsuits that's costing the county hundreds of thousands, if not, not thousands, millions of dollars now. So we got to do better.
Yeah,
we got to do better, and we just cannot continue going down the trail that we're going down now. So I think I'm the person, without a doubt, that we can do better and make a good decision and take us in the right direction going forward.
Great. One last question before we go on a break.
Okay.
And it is exactly 6:26 p.m. Do you think a global vision between communities in the United States will be better for Black matters or equity in the society?
I think it would be better, but we got to work at it, and we got to have that collaboration between the two to make it work. That's critically important. But I think it can be better, but we got to be able to work it together in unity to come to that same goal, to be successful.
Great. Major Craig Owens, you are the candidate for Cobb County Sheriff. As I said, we are very pleased to have you today on our show. And one more question.
Okay.
The same question again. Why do the Haitian community trust you?
I would like to think they're going to trust me because, hey, I'm the only person that ever reached out to the community, one. And two, is I truly, truly care about the community and the Haitian community. I want them to have a voice. That's the reason I reached out. And I think that hopefully shows my genuine concern for the Haitian community because I want you to have a voice in this community. I know you're here. For first, some people don't even know you're here, but I know you're here. And you're very important to me in this community. So I think you should have a voice, and I want your voice to be heard so I can make sure that I'm taking care of you all going forward and providing you everything you need to be successful in Cobb County as well.
Great question, Alfred. It was a great question and great answer as well. Thank you for your time, and we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
When we come back, it's not gonna be on me. It's
Okay.
gonna be on all the listeners and all the community leaders.
Okay.
They have so many questions for you. Okay, so we're
All
gonna
right.
take a break and we will be back.
11 Hostel Road, Southwest dans Marietta, Georgia, pas seulement l'ouvrir porte pour saison taxe là, li là pour toute année pour capable bien gérer taxe ou. L'oré les 678 749 86 18, c'est tout casser rendez-vous pour fil taxe ou ça. Notaire public, fax accounting services, là pour avec tout l'autre service financier qu'on a besoin. Gervais Tax Services, pareil pour fil taxe individuel ou soit business à la lumière des principes établis par IRS. Sous place, notaire public ou pareil pour notarier tout document qu'on a besoin et sans gratter tête. Accounting Services disponible pour business ou capable bien gérer. Gervais Tax Services. Après l'appel ou dans 678 749 86 18 Gervais Tax Services. Paré pour recevoir dans 3411 Hostel Road Southwest dans Marietta, Georgia et Gervais Tax Services ou capable visiter online dans gervaistaxservices.com. Lors visiter online ou capable bien joindre, bien contrer à tout service que l'office offre à la clientèle. Gervais Tax Services. 6 ans d'expérience professionnelle. Prix abordable, courtoisie pour chaque client.
14 août 1791. 18 mai 1803.
Nous te voulons, chère patrie, puissante et fort à tous les yeux.
31 octobre 2020. Les États généraux, Hôtel Renaissance Santo Domingo. Des invités de la vie politique tels que Moïse Jean-Charles, Éric Jean-Baptiste, Michel Martelly, Dimitri Vorbe, Liliane Pierre-Paul, Himmler Rébu, Loukou Désir, André Michel, Yuri La Tortue et tant d'autres encore. Le pardon général pour corriger nos erreurs. Wesley Consulting Group et Haiti Riposte vous invitent à participer le 31 octobre 2020 en direct devant la nation haïtienne. Pour participer et informations, écrivez sur WhatsApp +1 809 876 77 86 ou www.westconsultinggroup.com et www.haitiriposte.com.
Et oui, chers amis, auditeurs, auditrices, nous retournons dans le show encore, show pour tout le monde là sur radiotambour.com. Et je dis, c'est un plaisir pour moi gagner Major Craig Owens, candidate for the Cobb County Sheriff. Et l'île show, hein, et moi-même personnellement, et me dit premier 30 minutes dans ces coupam, m'a fait show en la premier 30 minutes. Hein. Après ça, que m'a prendre question. Et en fait community leaders yo, qui posaient et m'a demandé nous pour nous share live là parce que son gros conversation qui gagne entre moi-même avec et the Cobb Major Craig Owens et candidate for Cobb County Sheriff et depuis avant émission me dit que son émission qui en créole mais parce que là émission a fait en anglais et je dis on m'a tout montré le parler créole tout ça son bail qui est important. It is a pleasure to have you, sir. So, I have a couple of questions for you from the. Hold on, I'm gonna get those questions. Hold on. Let me grab one question. Hold on a few seconds. I will get that to you. Let's start.
Wishing successful outcome in the elections. My question is the following. Since the killing of George Floyd, several other black people have been killed at the hands of the police. If you are elected, what significant changes will you be implementing in your departments to truly eradicate police brutality and senseless killings of black people? I'm not talking about patching the problem, but truly resolve it.
Outstanding question. And I think me as the chief law enforcement executive of the county, I have to look at the overall county sheriff's office as a whole. But what leads to, and I'll give you a quick example and I won't be long. What leads me to this decision, what I'm about to tell you is this. You know, I spent 30 plus years in the military and we trained every day for that one conflict. And that one conflict may never occur, but we train every day like it's going to happen tomorrow. And what that training does for us is it builds that building block of repetition. And it builds it so it comes as second nature to you. When you come to do it tomorrow, it just comes naturally. So let me equate that back to your question. To prevent some of the issues that were occurring, I think training is one of the key values that we have to attack. We have to make sure that our officers and deputies are trained correctly. They want to be trained so good that it comes second nature, that it comes like it's just natural. And some of the things that we see occurring now on the out here on the streets, for lack of better terms, that was not training. That's improper training. These officers and deputies you see violating people's constitutional rights are not trained events. They're acting outside of that scope. So what we got to do first here in Cobb County is ensure that we are training our deputies correctly, and not only correctly, but making sure they're getting the best training possible, whether it's in state or out of state or across the United States or even international. I would ensure that our deputies are some of the best trained deputies, not only in Cobb County, but across the state of Georgia. So I think training is the key for us to turn some of that around. And second is leadership. You got to have good leadership in place to make sure that our deputies are being held accountable for their actions. And accountability is key. But you got to have leadership to make sure we're holding those individuals accountable. So we got to make sure we're getting training, and we got to make sure we got good leadership in place that's going to hold these individuals accountable when they do wrong. And me as being your sheriff, I'll ensure that. And I will make sure that anyone who does anything outside the scope of the law that is outside our policies and procedures will be handled very quickly and swiftly, and make sure we deal with those individuals so we don't have that continuing in our department. So training, accountability, and good leadership is how I plan on turning this around. And there's one last portion that we have in the sheriff's office, what they call a triple crown rating. And what that is that's a rating you earn by going out and accomplishing certain things. I mean, one is up under corrections, one is up under healthcare and mental health care, and the last one is up under administrative procedures. So what I want to do is make sure that we get our sheriff's office eligible to earn the triple crown rating. And what that ensures, we are meeting all of the industry standards across the United States. That all our policies and procedures are up to date, that we're meeting the standards across all the sheriffs across the state, as well as all our correction officer standards are current and up to date, as well as our healthcare treatment. And I'm quite sure you know, from our agency, we've had several unfortunate deaths in our detention center. I think that will help us ease that death rate as well. So again, that'll be training, accountability, leadership, and earning the triple crown rating, which will ensure that we're one of the best sheriff's officers, not only in the state of Georgia, but across the United States of America.
Perfect. Here's the second question.
Major Craig Owens. My name is Sorrel Ketan. I'm the president of the Georgia Haitian American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for being here. Having been in the Cobb County Police Department for 31 years or more, I want to know, how have you seen the structures for law and order evolve in Cobb County, specifically in the ways Cobb County police and authorities deal with and treat people of color? How have the structures evolved, and in what direction would you steer that evolution, and why?
You got it?
Got it. Great question. Cobb County Police, and I can speak, that's where I'm currently employed, has made a tremendous change from where it's been since I got here in 1989. I think when our last couple of chiefs, Chief Register and our current Chief Cox, has made great strides in taking Cobb Police Department in the right direction. And I think one of the key proponents that they have brought into place, which has been very helpful to me as a commander as well as community, is our community involvement. They brought in a community affairs unit, which helps work into the community. It works directly with all aspects of the community in helping them solve any issues they may have. As well as we created another program, which I thought is very, very good, is what we call Precinct discussion groups. That's where your commander has bi-monthly conversations with the community, from HOAs, from civic leaders, to anyone in the community is open to that, and it's been very successful, and it allows us to hear what the community say we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And then it allows us to make those adjustments to make sure we meet the needs of the community, as well as it allows the commanders to tell the community what the police department's doing, from our crime stats to our areas we're having issues with, and etc. So that allows us to have that communication, which is, I think, is key. Having the communication with your community is key. And your community being able to have accessibility to leadership in the police department is even more key to me. So I pay prayer letter into the sheriff's office, which we currently have nothing like that. Nothing. My plan is to make sure that we have open door policy where we can meet with our community on a regular basis so that you can learn what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and how we can improve that. But the police department currently has made great strides in the area. I think they're going in the right direction. And I think they will continue to get better at that aspect to build that relationship between the community and specifically black community. Well, I think they're making great strides and going that the direction to be successful.
Great. More questions for you?
Okay.
Hey, good evening. This is Osborne Fixama, President of the International Women of Hope. I am pleased to be with you this evening. I thank you, Dr. Devesin, for all that you are doing in bringing information to the community that empower us and impacting our lives. Greetings, Mr. Owens, and my question is, what are the new ideas that you are bringing to your department that will move the people in your county to vote for you? And since the month of October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I would like also to address how is the department contributing on helping the community to deal with domestic violence, specifically how we treat the women when a call is made. Please share with us your stand on those. Thank you.
Well, there's another great question. I tell you, I have a lot of great questions this evening. Regarding domestic violence, you're absolutely right. And just give you a quick update where we are with domestic violence. You know, since the pandemic started, everyone being at home kind of cooped up, and it's causing a lot of issues, to be honest with you. Everybody getting tired of being at home. We have a lot of domestic things. So our domestics calls have skyrocketed, to be honest with you, because of the pandemic. But to hope to alleviate some of those issues, you know, we have special units for domestic violence currently with the police department. The sheriff department has an agency, but I would like to increase that to help the police department follow up on these domestic violence cases. Make sure that our women are being given the support and help they need once they go through these situations. Believe me, because it is a very traumatic situation for these young ladies to go through. So we want to make sure we're providing them with the proper support and help they need to get back on their feet and be successful and get back to their normalcy of life. So what I can promise you as a sheriff's office, that we would increase our domestic violence follow-up unit to make sure that we're providing all the services that we possibly can to the victims of these crimes and making sure they get all the aid they need to get back on their feet and be successful. And we'll work with the police department hand in hand to ensure that it's taken care of.
Thank you. More questions?
Okay.
It's not about me. Okay?
Right. Gotcha. No worries.
Good afternoon. My name is Franz Bourget. First, I want to thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to have a conversation with our community. The two questions I have for you. One is if you can inform us on the role of the sheriff department in Cobb County. And second, what would be different from the incumbent, Mr. Neil Warren's policy versus yours? Again, thank you for talking to us this afternoon.
Well, I'm telling you, I got some great questions. So the sheriff department's responsibility is currently there. We're in charge of court security. We're in charge of the detention center. We're in charge of warrant services, civil, as well as federal fugitive apprehensive warrants. We're in charge of the narcotics units, as well as we also have high-tech crimes or blue-collar crimes, and we also have domestic violence follow-up unit. So those are the primary functions that the sheriff's department have currently. What's different between the incumbent now in me will be this. There's no community involvement at all. None. Zero. Zilch. He has no involvement with the community. As I'm speaking with this Haitian community tonight, he will never speak to you. So that's one big difference. And the other, I think, significant difference is this. It takes everyone to work together to make our community safe. So the current sheriff has no relationship with any of the community facets. That's what I'm different. I'll come in and I want to make sure I have relationships with our entire community. I bridge that bridge that I stated earlier, so we can have that open conversation and contact. And that way you understand, I understand your needs, you understand what I can do to help you, and we have a roadway to be successful by having that open communication and dialogue, which is what I bring. And which is what the current sheriff does not have, is no dialogue with the community at all.
My question to you just mentioned he will never speak to us. What do you mean by that?
Well, in his 30 plus or 40 years, he's never reached out to the community. And he's been in office almost 40 years. And I'm probably the first candidate you ever heard that reached out to want to talk and want to see what your needs are. What can I do to be better? What can I do to help you? He's never done that.
Perfect.
So, right.
More questions?
When elected as new Cobb County Sheriff, how will you work to improve the relationship between your officers and the youth, especially young black men living in the county, in light of all of the problems that law enforcement officers are having with youth of color? This is Reginald Grandpierre.
Reginald, that is a great question. And now I tell you, Reginald, I have a vision. And my vision is that we create a Sheriff's Explorers program. That's a program we want to create to work with the youth in our community, to allow them to have an avenue, for lack of better terms, escape. Now they know what we're doing as sheriff deputies. We got different programs for them. They can be in competitions. And that program is Sheriff's Explorers, where they can come in and learn administrative skills. They learn some police functions. They learn 911 things. They learn some crime scene investigation. We get them a whole facet of things, and it gets them involved in what the sheriff's office do. And what also the good thing about that, we can offer these young men and women jobs once they get to the right age. And they may not want to be a deputy, but they may want to be administrative. They may want to go into crime scene. They may want to be a 911 dispatcher. So what it is an opportunity for me to give back to community and increase our workforce. Of course, I'm benefiting to it as well, but I think the community is well. Now I'm building that gap in between our law enforcement and community. Now, our youth are not just seeing us as when something's going wrong. They're seeing us now in good times, and they're seeing that we're doing positive things in the community, and we're giving that back to them. So I think by creating a Sheriff's Explorers program, having better resources in the community, I can give back, having community liaison. I would love to have a Haitian liaison that I can employ and hire, as well as Latino. I just want to have that aspect. We got to be able to meet in the community and let them know that I'm here for them. So, but building that gap between our youth and our community is essential. And I think that's the only way we can be successful, because, our youth are our future. So I got to reach them, and I got to reach them now and give them a better way to go ahead, and so they don't have negative thoughts about what the sheriff's office do.
Major Craig Owens, thank you very much. And I have more questions for you.
Okay.
As I said, it's not about me today.
Right,
it's
right.
about them, because they want to ask you a lot of questions. There is one question on Facebook. How can the Haitian community get closer to the African community?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have a perfect answer for you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would like to do is, if in my tenure, hopefully I'm so fortunate to be elected, to have a open forum where we can bring both communities in together, so we can have that dialogue and making sure that we all are trying to get to the same common goal, which I would imagine to keeping Cobb County safe and keep the interests of both parties open and available. So I think by having an open dialogue and having an area where we can meet and have those strict conversations between the two, I think we can do that. I'm open to facilitate that. And that's something I think is a unique characteristic of me, that I'm open to facilitate these type things and willing to make sure that we make that happen so we all can be one great community. I tell you what, one quick thing before we move on to the next question. What I preach to my precinct now is we're one team, we're one fight, and one community. So I think if I can bridge that gap at a small precinct level, I can definitely bridge the gap with us and the Haitian community, the African community, any community. We're just one team, we're one fight, one community, and we're all at the same goal to be safe.
I already know how in tune you are with the community, with the Haitian community, but there is a question coming from outside the United States, because this show is listened all over. So the question is, do you satisfy? I'm just asking you the question exactly the same way it is.
Okay.
Do you satisfy the way your country is treating the Haitian community, or do you think it should be better?
I think we can always be better. Let me be first and foremost with that. I think we can always treat everyone better. There's always room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we can do better, and we should do better. We just got to work toward that common goal of treating everyone with dignity and respect, and I think we'll be fine. But yes, we can do better. And am I currently satisfied? No, I think we can do better.
Okay. More questions are coming.
Okay.
It's very interesting. What does that mean to you, being a voter? One of the big difficulties to deal as a sheriff is to maintain order and bring to the community confidence. What is your plan about this?
Well, that's a good question. I think my plan about bringing
I think people were prepared for you tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been doing their homework. I think one way, is to get rid of this decisiveness that we have in the community, and make sure that we are working together as one team to accomplish that same mission. And we got to do that by, going back to my platform of having truth, trust, and transparency. And I think when the community have truth, trust in their leadership, I think it makes it so much better. Currently, we don't have that. And that's something I think I'm going to bring back to the table. I'm going to bring that truth, trust, and transparency back, because I am your CEO for law enforcement, and I owe you that right. And that's what I guarantee I will give you that.
Mr. Greg Owens, Major Greg Owens, candidate for Cobb County Sheriff. It is exactly 6:51 p.m. and we only have a couple of minutes to end the show tonight.
Okay.
As I said in the beginning, it is my pleasure to have you on the show pour tout le monde on Radio Tambour. And we have a lot of listeners tonight.
Right.
And they are very curious about that, about you coming to the community and have a conversation with us. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you on behalf of the community. And one more question. It's
Okay.
not for me.
All right.
As I said, it's not about me tonight. It's about them.
Right.
Asking you a question.
Got it.
A multicultural community, does it need a multicultural sheriff or a knowledgeable cultural sheriff? Isn't it a good question?
That's a good question. I think I need a combination of both, to be honest with you, to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
I think a combination of both would be more appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think you have to have a sheriff, and this is just my personal opinion, that is for everyone, not just one facet of the community. As a sheriff, I'm the sheriff for every individual, not just one. So I have to be able to be multicultural. I got to be able to deal and talk with everyone. That's why I'm saying I want to have an open door. I want to be able to meet with our communities on a regular basis and let them know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and they can tell me what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. Because I think I owe that to you. And so I want to be the best possible sheriff that I can absolutely be. Mm-hmm. And the only way I can be good at what I do is with community support and community input. Because let's be honest, I work for you. I'm your sheriff. You elected me, so I have a duly sworn right to work for you, in my opinion. And some people don't believe that, but I do. You know, as I said, as you said earlier, I'm a servant. I'm a servant. I'm going to work for you, and I'm going to do what's right for you and your family and the whole community. So allow me the opportunity to do that by engaging me in conversation. Let me know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and I'll definitely hear that feedback, and we'll definitely make it. So I think it's a combination of both.
As I'm looking at you right now, face to face, right?
Right.
And I can tell you're working for me. But outside of this
right.
studio, you're no longer working for me anymore. I'm just.
I got you.
I just want to thank Yubenta Joseph Sanon for helping us today.
Absolutely.
With everything. And Johnny Production, he's your friend.
Yes.
He's your friend. He's the one making this happen.
Yes.
I just want to thank him. And
yes.
He's part of this big community, big Haitian community.
He is. Very crucial part.
Yes. I know you guys went to military together.
Right.
So, great. You know, it's 6:55 and you had a lot of questions. And I'm looking at all my research paper, and I don't have any more questions for you. But I think you answered all the questions that we had prepared for you tonight.
Right.
And we about to end the show.
Okay.
First of all, I just want to thank all the community leaders for all these questions. Absolutely. That they put together for you. And I want to thank all the listeners. I want to thank everybody who listen or watching us on Facebook. Everybody who's outside the country as well, in Dominican Republic. They understand English and they send their question to you. They are brilliant people.
Absolutely.
And people in New York, people in Boston, in France, in Canada, in Martinique, in Guadeloupe, all over the world, they are watching you, and they thank you. They thank you for being part of this community. And you come to the community, you deliver, you come with, I'd say, great leadership. And one of the things that personally that I admired, and I can see that in you,
Thank you.
That leadership and that friendship. So, if you have one more thing that you want to add, what would it be?
One thing I want to add is this. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an opportunity to not only make history here in Cobb County, but to make a much needed change. A change that's going to be for the betterment of our community. A change that's going to bring our community together as one and eliminate some of the decisiveness that we currently have. A change is going to make sure we treat everyone with dignity and respect, and we treat everyone fairly as they should solely be treated. And a change that will make Cobb County one of the best counties, not only in the state, but across the nation. So please come out and vote. Early voting starts tomorrow. And if you can't do early voting, please come and vote in person on November the 3rd. Again, please vote like your life depends on it, because these elections locally are extremely important. And by the way, I'm always looking for volunteers for our campaign. Come out and volunteer and help me be your next sheriff of Cobb County and make history and put Cobb County in the right direction to be successful. And I'm so humbled again and honored that y'all allowed me to come in and speak to the community, the Haitian community. It meant so much when they returned the call and said I can do it. And hopefully when I win, I want him to have me back on a regular basis to give you updates, because I have to keep my word, updates on what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and answer any questions the community may have for me. And again, thank you so very much.
This is the best way to end this. And again, on behalf of the Haitian community, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to be a part of this. And believe me, I'll see you.
Absolutely.
We will see you again. Thank you very much. And I hope that when you become the sheriff and you'll come visit us again. I know you're going to be busy.
I'll be here. Just
but
give me a
you
call.
know what? I will be the next door and say, please, sir, come to the show.
And again. I'll be here. Absolute guaranteed.
Ladies and gentlemen, and it was a pleasure to have Major Greg Owens, candidate for Cobb County Sheriff Department. Moi-même, bon côté pam, m'a fini show en créole parce que me dit show a fait en anglais parce que Mr. Craig Owens, Major Craig Owens, il pas parler créole, mais avant l'aller là, me promettre non, m'a montrer le mot ça qui passé. Et m'envie le dire pour le dire dans micro ça qui passé. Dis, say it for us, ça qui passé.
Ça qui passé?
There you go, you got it. Ladies and gentlemen, nous arrivons dans un moment qui est triste dans l'émission, c'est le moment que pour nous aller. Et m'a dit nous merci pour écouter nous. All the listeners, thank you very much to be a part of it. Thank you for your questions. All the community leaders, I want to thank you, Jack Julmis, Sorel Ketan, President Sorel Ketan, Madame Rose Brunvik Sama, Mr. Franz Bouget, Mr. Reginald Gampier, Mr. Jack Julmis, and all the listeners, people who watch us on Facebook. Thank you very much to be a part of it. And I want to end this to tell you how much I love you. Au revoir.
On nous rassemble pour nous chita parler. De belles histoires pays nous et qui continue de braler. Haïti chérie, la paire des Antilles. Cette nous a frappé, y'a demandé pour liberté, 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 égalité, égalité, fraternité, fraternité, République d'Haïti.